The people that are taking a little longer to figure it out will probably be able to catch up pretty quick. The learning curve is probably going to be a lot less for some of these tools, whereas we've come through the full gamut of technical complexity and hallucinations and everything and things breaking, and skills training is absolutely vital, right? People need to understand the domain knowledge that they have, the skills that they bring to the role that aren't translatable or transferable into AI, and they are largely your creativity, your relationships, your EQ. Those things that make us truly human are going to be the things that differentiate us today and in the future. Knowledge is going to become instantly accessible and free. Everyone can have that. So we've got to understand what makes us different, because someone has to orchestrate all of this work, right?
Yeah.
And orchestration is going to take a specific set of skills that might already exist within your organization, right? You need someone that has system thinking, so they understand how workflows and processes work, how they are done today, and then how to map those in an AI system. And you've got to have the tools and the technical chops to be able to wire that all up.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Performance CEO Show. I'm talking to Justin Flitter. He is the founder of Zealand.ai, which is, you tell me, Justin, what is Zealand.ai about? I mean, I'm really inspired by your work, but let you explain what your mission is.
Yeah, kia ora, Sebastian. It's great to be on your show. I founded Zealand.ai in 2017, pre-OpenAI, pre-generative AI. We set out to help business people understand why, where, and how to be leveraging artificial intelligence. We spent the first 3 years mainly running events, doing a few workshops, but running big conferences and monthly meetups to try and connect people together who were actually either curious about AI or actually building and working with artificial intelligence. And then in the last 3 years, we have really developed the AI advisory practice. We still do a lot of industry development and public speaking and awareness and education, but we've also just launched our AI Academy. So we're trying to build AI skills training programs at scale.
Yeah, which is very important. I mean, you mentioned awareness, and also everyone knows ChatGPT and these public tools which are out there. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done in regards of awareness, showing, telling, and informing people about what's happening and what's about to happen in the near future. Because from my perspective, the majority of the population, they don't really see this big tsunami which is hitting every one of us.
Yes, I mean, there was recent research out, which was kind of where our conversation got started, that the capability of artificial intelligence is doubling every 7 months. So we look back to when ChatGPT 3.5 launched in October 22, and it could complete tasks that took humans a few minutes to do. Today, it's already completing work that would take me hours to do a day, if not an afternoon.
Weeks.
Yeah. And so the research that we post is like, if this trajectory continues, in 30 months' time, by 2030, it's going to be able to complete tasks that take humans a month to complete. And while I think that will probably happen a lot sooner, it's it's a great indicator, a great piece of research to elevate the conversation and get people thinking about the pace of change and how it's going to impact the shape of our business, what our jobs might look like, what new skills are we going to need, how is it going to impact our economy, all of those types of things.
Yeah, and I mean, you're saying months, and I would argue some of these capabilities are already there. I mean, I run a community, and The other day, I have a member from Mexico, and we wanted to understand the AI automation market in Mexico. And during this 1 hour coaching call, I started a deep research on ChatGPT. I mean, first I created a prompt for the deep research, and I started the deep research. I got about 25, 30 pages of documentation. I put this into Gamma, which is, you already know, and it is a presentation app. And I got a 25 pages PowerPoint Gamma presentation out of it with all the key points. And I showed this to the guy, and he was shocked. Yeah, he was completely taken away. And something like this, a couple of years ago, would have taken weeks. You have a researcher, you go back and forth.
Well, pre-AI, you would have had to do it manually, which would have taken someone weeks, or you would pay a consultancy to do it for you, right?
Yeah.
Which would also take weeks and cost you
$20,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is not all available to all of us, and it's just the beginning. It's improving, and you and me, I mean, we work with these tools every day, and I see changes almost on a daily basis in tools like ChatGPT, and you're now able to do that, and I mean, it's crazy. And the I saw this post from you, the 30-month countdown. New Zealand's economy faces unprecedented restructuring from AI, and this I found really inspiring. This is why I reached out, because I mean, I have been in New Zealand 2 times now for an extended period of time. And I feel that this country, and we need to figure out why I think it is like this, is, I mean, I think it's a very agile and open country for these type of technologies. I mean, I was talking to people in a pub about, hey, I'm doing AI, and yeah, really, and can we meet? And you have these questions. So I think the people are very open, and
yeah. Look, I think the research is indicating that a very high proportion of businesses in New Zealand are doing something with artificial intelligence, right? And that's fantastic. I think the maturity of adoption is still very low. Now, how that compares and stacks up to other countries around the world, I don't know. I've spoken to people doing similar work to me in Canada and Europe, and they're having the same struggles that we are in New Zealand around adoption. I think the awareness is very high. And certainly, there's bound to be somebody in almost every company in New Zealand mucking around with ChatGPT, whether or not they actually have a strategy around it, that they're building a roadmap, they have a concerted program of work aligned to it. I don't know, but there seems to be a groundswell of public interest in artificial intelligence, that's for sure.
But coming back to your article, it's very alarming. It's eye-opening. You wanna summarize what you wrote? It's basically on LinkedIn. We will link it in the show notes. But
yeah, I mean, look, it goes back to the original point, right? That if the capability of AI keeps doubling in 30 months' time, that's going to mean that that AI can do tasks that take humans a month to do. Now, that is going to mean that there are going to be swathes of people who their whole career have done tasks that humans just don't need to do anymore. Their sense of identity, their purpose, what they turn up to work to do every day, they don't have to do that anymore. AI can do it, and probably better than them. And so that creates this extraordinary challenge around how we are creating sustainable businesses. What does a sustainable career path look like? If we are not training people now to use AI tools to evolve in their role and in their profession, then we are going to have a problem. And it's not like we're going to end up with a whole lot of people not doing anything. Humans always want to be delivering value and doing things. We will naturally find things to do. It's just that our companies are just not going to be competitive, because you're going to be up against competitors that are 10x your productivity, 10x your effectiveness, and you just won't be able to exist with that. You'll be going to apply for a job, and you won't. Everyone else will have AI skills, and you won't, and you just won't even get a look in, right? And so that's going to force a reshaping of how we work and how businesses operate, the skills that we need inside organizations.
It's very interesting to see the big bandwidth of readiness of organizations. So I recently read an article on the Wall Street Journal about the CEO of Shopify. And he said to his team, I'm not going to hire anyone if you don't prove to me that I can do the job. Yeah, you have to get this. Yeah? I mean, I'm not putting another person in my company if any AI system can do this kind of job. So, I mean, this is exactly what you say.
But then we need an HR team for the AIs, right? Because someone has to orchestrate all of this work, right?
These agents.
And orchestration is going to take a specific set of skills that might already exist within your organization, right? You need someone that has system thinking, so they understand how workflows and processes work, how they are done today, and then how to map those in an AI system, right? And you've got to have the tools and the technical chops to be able to wire that all up, right? Now, sure, we're seeing lots of kind of no-code, low-code orchestration layers to build multi-step AI agents. Unless you're a jolly good developer, most people, including myself, and I've got some technical chops, but I'm no developer. Getting them to work effectively at scale is still quite challenging. And so we might see the IT team becoming the HR department for AI agents because they have the keys to, the APIs and being able to actually wire up those data sources and those channels to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, upskilling of your existing staff is also a very important topic, no? Because, I mean, we have a team. Then you obviously want to give them the skills that they can leverage these technologies. So this is why you're also building an AI academy, what you said.
You're right. Skills training is absolutely vital, right? People need to understand the domain knowledge that they have, the skills that they bring to the role that aren't translatable or transferable into AI, and they are largely your creativity, your relationships, your EQ. Those things that make us truly human are going to be the things that differentiate us today and in the future. Knowledge is going to become instantly accessible and free. Everyone can have that. So we've got to understand what makes us different. And so there's going to be new jobs and new roles and new skills that we're going to need. And skills-based training is just going to help people transition through that pathway.
So on the one hand, you have these companies like Shopify, but on the other hand, I know so many companies who are barely touched AI. They say, yeah, this is nothing we need. This is going away. This is futuristic magic we don't want to understand. And looking at your timeline, 30 months, that without immediate action, 63% of current shops could face automatic-driven restructuring. I mean, imagine this impact. how should, I mean, what can we do with these organizations? I mean, it's not only a business, as you mentioned, a business topic. It's a society challenge that we have.
Yeah, look, I think we can tamper that a little bit with the realization that this is not all going to happen at once. This is going to be, a gradual change. But what was a gradual change a generation ago is probably only 2 to 3 years now, right? It's not going to take a lifetime for things to change. So the pace of changes is extraordinarily fast, and that's creating unprecedented challenges for everybody. Uh, Governments are going to react to what they have in front of them. They're less likely to, you know, take the insight of a futurist or, someone like that and create. Some will, but most countries are going to be fairly reactive to what they have because they need the political or the public pressure to be able to do that. Business leaders, on the other hand, can front foot this. They can be far more proactive about planning for the future and thinking about the makeup of their business and what that's going to look like. And we don't know what necessarily is going to happen or how it's going to play out, but we can prepare for what might be. And for me, that is skills-based training, understanding the capability of AI today, how to identify the use cases, how to use the tools, how to choose the right tools, how to know what data to use with which tool at the time to make sure that there's no IP leakage or security issues or any of those types of things. So making effective decisions with some good governance protocols is a great way to give your people the foundational knowledge so that we can keep evolving as this changes.
How do you operate as New Zealand.ai? So this is an organization that runs workshops that now creates this or has created this academy. So is this a virtual organization? Do you run on-site workshops?
Yes, look, our business is very much split into thirds. So public speaking, conferences, workshops, that kind of thing. 30% of the time we're working with executive leadership teams running in-house or online workshops to help them identify use cases, identify the risks, create good governance protocols, plan their roadmap, operationalization, training, all of those different types of things. And then 30% of the time we're doing skills-based training where individuals or companies will be putting their staff through learning and development programs hosted in our academy.
When you talk to these organizations, what's your how do these? I mean, what's the bandwidth of knowledge in these companies, and how do you make sure that you bring everyone on a similar level? So, I mean, I can imagine it's quite challenging when you have like forerunners like you, and then you have people who, barely touch their mobile phone. So I think this is a big challenge. So how do we make sure that people get on a similar level, that we don't leave anyone behind?
Yeah, look, good point, right? So first and foremost, we'd run a lunch. Well, typically we run a lunch and learn. Typically, the companies that engage with us are just starting on their AI journey. We're the first organization that they call to go, we're independent. We don't make any software. We're purely advisory. They're like, Justin, can you help us on the journey? What do we do? How do we get started? The first thing that we do usually is run a lunch and learn, which is entertaining, informative, starts discussions. It empowers people within the organizations to start asking questions. So could we use AI to do that? And all of a sudden we start creating a laundry list of use cases and people start spotting the opportunities. We also give people some freemium or free tools. Might be Notebook LM, it might be free ChatGPT, and some prompts, some exercises to just go and get started. Forget about work necessarily, or I don't know, find an industry report that you want to deep dive into, and create a podcast using Notebook LM off the back of that report. Just really lightweight, easy things to showcase the capability of these tools at a basic level with them, and then ideas just start flowing.
Yeah, I think that's very important, giving them hands-on experience. I mean, I have a son, he's 13, and he's using Claude and Perplexity now to study, So he uploads his paper and said, okay, please teach me that, and then ask me questions. And he said to me, hey, I now really enjoy learning, it's so much fun, and why do I need to go to school? I said, yeah, well.
It's a good question, right? If knowledge is instantly accessible and freely available, then what is an education for? And an education surely is to give you that grounding, and teaches us how to think, how to contextualize, how to synthesize information, how to decide what's wrong or right, perhaps from an ethical standpoint, but certainly your ability to synthesize and contextualize information into your world, into what's relevant, into a specific scenario, that's a skill that we have to learn, and that's what education, certainly at college and university, is going to focus on.
Soft skills, and people also talking to each other, building teams, working together on problems. And I listened to a podcast once where they also talked about, what do we do with kids using generative AI in school, And one guy said, why don't we give them more complex problems? Let them use ChatGPT and whatever, but give them more complex problems they would never be able to solve without this, And this is how they learn, how they grow, and how they develop these skills that are so important nowadays, to be able to solve something with the tools and technologies at hand. It's no point in repeating knowledge and learning something which is written down.
Absolutely. Look, my daughter's almost 2, and she is just starting to stitch a sentence together, right? Now, by the time she gets to primary school, 5, she will absolutely be able to use voice mode in ChatGPT, right? And this is like gone are the days of Siri and Alexa. This is completely next level, right? She will be able to use these tools fluently, and how she learns, or how that teaches her to ask questions, I think will be really interesting, right? If we want to foster that curiosity for learning with her, then probably the best thing I can teach her is how to ask a question, or different ways to ask questions, so that and like you mentioned before, command of language, English or whichever language you speak in, to be able to, and not just to be able to write, but to converse, right? The most delightful experience with AI today is undoubtedly ChatGPT on advanced voice mode, when you've got it on the dashboard in the car while you're driving to a meeting, and you end up with this 50-page transcript of everything that you talked about for an hour, and your mind is expanded, right? And I love that.
Yeah, I do the same. Last time I drove to a client as an industry I never worked with before, and I said, hey, ChatGPT, I'm driving to this client. Please, this is an industry I never really had business with in the past, give me some insights. How should I talk to these people? What are their main challenges, and so on. And it was a very delightful conversation. And I was fully prepared when I arrived. Yeah? And it's, but yeah, I mean, we use this, and we sort of have integrated this in our daily workflow. But then you show this to someone else, and they're completely overwhelmed and don't understand what is happening in the world. And this is why I think it's so important, the work you do in sharing this and educating the society. I mean, you have 30 months to go, mate. Yeah. Probably less.
Someone's going to tap me on the shoulder in 30 months' time and go, nah, we're all good.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a big challenge. And you're right. I mean, every part of the world has the same challenge. This two sides. One is completely into AI, and they embrace it, and they want to educate everyone else, and then there's still a big amount of people who need more time. And this is why I think, conversations like this are very important.
And the beauty with AI is probably that, you know, the people that are taking a little longer to figure it out will probably be able to catch up pretty quickly, right? You know, it's the learning curve is probably going to be a lot less for some of these tools. You know, whereas we've come through the full gamut of technical complexity and, you know, hallucinations and everything and things breaking and now, you know, the argument around hallucinations and, you know, AI gets things wrong, and my perspective is almost null and void, right? If you're using deep research, it's researching at a PhD level. Every single fact, point, everything is referenced to a published source, and yes, you know, you've always got to have a human in the loop to determine if the commentary and things like that is fit for purpose. But it is very few and far between do I notice or pick or spot or call out AI for making stuff up.
Yeah. No, you're completely right. I mean, the times of hallucination, I mean, are coming to an end.
I mean, it's never going to be perfect, right? But neither is a human, right? We always, you know, after a couple of beers, we mince our words, you know, and that's called hallucination in AI world, you know. So, you know, people still create crazy connections with data points that they've seen, and form opinions that, you know, the rest of society just thinks completely bonkers. And it will happen from time to time, but it is not an argument for not trusting or not using AI anymore, in my opinion, anyway.
Exactly. No, I also found this fascinating when you once I had a discussion with someone and he did something with, I don't know, ChatGPT. He said, "Yeah, this is wrong, or this is only 80% right," you know, and I said, "Yes, but what did you had a couple of years ago? you had to spend 3 hours to figure this out, you know, and then you also make mistakes, and you might only got 70% right, you know." Our expectation is so high sometimes on these things that we forget the amazing abundance of knowledge we get, and this provides to us. Yeah, I think we can talk for hours, but for you at this side of the world, it's getting late now. So I would like to wrap this up. I would love to have another chat maybe in half a year's time to see how things progress in New Zealand, and then I can share with you how things progress in Europe.
It might be our AI avatars meeting in 6 months' time.
Maybe, yes, and they can meet at whatever time they want. But thank you so much for your time, Justin.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. Really appreciate it.
Really a pleasure, and yeah, good luck, and please keep on doing your work. It's very important.
You too. Thank you so much. Talk soon.